Hello everybody, this is Miss Xiao here. Today I am going to do a presentation with regards to the topic of P4 angles, and I'm going to teach you turns and angles. We have previously learned about angles, how to measure them, how to identify them, and how to construct them. Today we are going to look at how we are going to turn our bodies in a way that we can measure up to certain angles. Let's take a look at this character over here. I have a Lego man. Now, Lego man is standing and he is facing the front, okay? So his face is facing the front. Now, if I ask Lego man, could you please turn around and look what's around you? Lego man can choose to turn two ways. The first way that he can turn is to go like this, to turn, okay? Look around what's around him before coming back. He is turning in the direction of how a clock turns. Yeah? The hands of a clock turn this way, isn't it? Now, if it follows the direction of the turn of a clock, this is what you call a clockwise turn. In mathematics, there is another symbol used to represent this, and is represented with an A, which is the character itself, and an arrow drawn in the clockwise direction like that. Okay. For the purposes of clarity, I will write it as clockwise. Now, Lego man can choose to turn in the opposite direction to look around him. So he could turn this way, right? He's halfway through. He's 3/4 through, and he's back at the original position that he was at. Now, this direction that he had turned is in the opposite direction of how the hands of the clock move. So this is what you call the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, represented mathematically by A, which is the character itself or the item, moving in this direction that goes against the direction of the clock hands. Now, to make the way that he turns, the amount of turning more precise, we could actually measure him according to the angle that he turns. Okay, so just now when we put, he's facing the front, right? And if he turns one round, we call this a full turn. F-U-L-L, full turn. Okay, now if he just turns to face the front, now he's facing the back. This is halfway through. This is what you call a half turn. What happens if Mr. Lego man turns like this? What is half of a half? This would be a quarter through. And if Mr. Lego man, again at the same direction, his original direction he's facing, turns this angle, it will be 3/4 through. Now, how do I make sense of this? If I put him against this grid, okay, he's standing here, and I turn him through, let's say in the clockwise direction, here, he would have turned this angle, isn't it? Now, what is this angle? If you can recall what you have learned in the earlier topic, you will recognize that this is indeed a right angle. This is 90 degrees. So he would have turned at a 90-degree angle. This is 90 degrees. Now, there are 4 parts that make up a full turn. So if you want to consider one out of the 4 parts, this is considered a quarter turn. Quarter comes from the word quart. Quart stands for 4. Okay, so if there are 4 parts and only one out of the 4 parts is turned, a quarter turn is how many right angles? It's actually 1 right angle. And a quarter turn is how many degrees? If we were to translate this into degrees, it will be 90 degrees because 1 right angle is the same as 90 degrees. Now, let's take a look at Lego Man once again. Lego Man now wants to do a half turn. So he wants to turn halfway to a full turn. So halfway around, he would be turning to face here, isn't it? He'll be facing here, towards myself. Now, what would be the angle that he would cover? He would start from here, right? Because he's facing this portion, this direction, and he's going to turn, and in the end, he's going to face here. So he's going to cover an angle, a turn of an angle of 2 right angles. So a half turn is 2 right angles. If 1 right angle is 90 degrees, a half turn, which is 2 right angles, how many degrees does this make? Well, 90 plus 90, this would make 180 degrees. So 180 degrees is a half turn. Now, next, you could guess, Mr. Lego Man now is going to make a 3/4 turn. So this is 1/4, this is 2/4 or a half, and this would be 3/4. So he would cover an additional 1 more right angle. Since he's facing this direction, he's going to cover this portion of angle as well. And hey, this would also measure up to 1 more right angle, which is 90 degrees. And so we can say that a 3/4 turn is how many degrees? 90 plus 90, 180, 180. If you add another 90, that will be 270. Therefore, a 3/4 turn is 3 right angles. A 3/4 turn is 270 degrees. Finally, he is going to make a complete turn, or we could call this a full turn. So he starts facing the front. He goes 1 right angle, 2 right angles, 3 right angles, and he completes the turn, finishing up with the last right angle. Wow, good job. So that makes another 90 degrees. So can you tell me, 1 full turn, 1 complete turn, how many right angles did he cover? Well, you will have counted it. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 right angles. Therefore, it is 90 plus 90 plus 90 plus 90, 360 degrees. I hope that you have enjoyed this lesson and able to understand angles as well as turns. Thank you for your time. Goodbye.